Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Garage Gym Experiment podcast, where we're diving deep into the home gym scene. Tonight we're joined by the always entertaining Adrian Gluck from Gluck's Gym. Thanks for jumping on with us tonight, Adrian. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Putting a lot of pressure on me there, huh? Right off the bat.
I have to be a little quicker than last time. You got me on some quick ones, and I'm ready now. So.
Well, it's nice that you lie to them for me.
On this podcast, we're going to go over some fundamental home gym questions asked through our Sunday survey. So make sure you're getting on the Instagram Sunday evening and into Monday so that you can be a part of these conversations. Jake will be taking us through the survey, but after we wrap those up, I will be taking our guest through a little Q&A centered around his gym and the content he's putting out. So with that, Jake, let's go through the numbers.
Thanks, Adam. And also special shout out to Gluck for hopping on last minute. We had a cancel and he didn't get a whole lot of time to prepare, but here we are. And here's this fancy title page I made.
As a teacher, I'm going to critique this PowerPoint.
Yeah,
I'm always happy to be your alternate,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's a good feeling. But I knew it was your break. We do these podcasts late at night, so you were my first thought. I thought it might be
elderly,
an easy time.
Just joined AARP, so it's a little hard for me to stay up this late, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took some Viagra earlier, so it should be good.
That should help.
Yeah, I think that's what it's for, right?
Yeah, right. All right, let's dig into the data. So starting off, what is your primary barbell? We gave the options of multi-purpose power, ollie lifting, and specifically included bearings in the answer option, and then I don't know or other. As you'd probably expect, multi-purpose was the number one option with 42%, but it didn't beat out the power bar by too much. So 37% said power bar. And then ollie lifting bearing bar was quite a bit behind at just about 15%. So both power and multipurpose had at least 2 times more votes than a bar with typically known for bearing. And then about 6% don't know what they want. Gluck, I'd be curious to hear if you could only have one. I know you have plenty. Which one would you go with?
If I could, the results don't surprise me because ollie lifts take talent. And that's not something I have. So that you'd think that'd be harder. Those are difficult lifts. That's what we learned in college. But if I had to pick one, I'm looking over to my right at the barbell wall. I'd probably, at this point in my life, pick a power bar, and I'd just go generic, like Ohio deadlift. But, actually, I think you did something like this in your last round table. Is that what you call them, with all the guys? And was it the Kurt Locker that said he would do a power bar, but he'd take the shaft diameter down to 28.5 millimeters, kind of like a Texas power bar? I'd probably do something like that. I just go straight power bar, I think. At this point in my life, not that it's practical, but that's mostly what I do. In college, we did a lot of Olympic lifts, so I think it depends on the person. As you become educated or more confident or you find your path, your choices would probably change. But at this point in my life, I'm old and slow. I just stick to power bar.
Got it. Good to know. And this is pretty similar with what we saw last year as well. And unless Adam's answers changed, his answer is probably the same as mine, which is just like, if it's something that you have to use for the rest of your life, we'd probably go with multi-purpose bar just in case you decide to change up your routine or whatever. But yeah, it's a tough decision if you can only have one.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's excluding specialty bars, right? This is a world where we can only have one actual bar.
Yeah, unless you wanted to go with the specialty bar for one.
I guess. No, I don't think so.
No.
Benching with my SSB,
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
All right, let's move on to another barbell question, which is, do you prefer a center knurl on a barbell? The data says that 3 out of 5 vote yes to a center knurl. We have about 31% saying no, and then 9% saying, I don't know. This is another one that the results really didn't change from year to year. Gluck, I'd be curious to hear your opinion on this one as well. I'm guessing with your power bar choice, you'd go with the center knurl too.
I probably only for squats. I'm not sure outside of that why I would need it. I could just not be thinking right now, but I'd probably keep it for squats. But it's not the most exciting. It's a little stimulating when you're doing like an overhead press and you're just wearing down your chest. It's a tough world because it depends, again, what you're doing. But I suppose if I'm sticking with my power bar, I'd keep that center knurl. I have issues keeping my upper back tight sometimes squatting, and I'll roll that bar a little bit. So I don't think I do very well without that center knurl. But besides that, I'm not sure why I'd want it. And I hate squatting, so maybe I should just get rid of it. Get rid of squatting, but I don't know.
Yeah, I like one of the answers we had at that last round table too, like something like the Chan bar, the Matt Chan bar, where it's like a passive center knurl and then an aggressive outer knurl. So yeah, like when you're back squatting, you have some tackiness to it. But if it's like one barbell for the rest of your life, I mean, this question isn't necessarily saying that, but if you're thinking about that, you could still like do a clean and do a front squat with like a super passive knurl. It wouldn't turn out too bad.
Yeah, it's not particularly comfortable doing it with it, unless you're into that pain thing, and I'm not judging anybody who is. We've all been there. But
have you guys had a bar that has slipped because it doesn't have a center knurl, though? I have. That's why I would rather have something with a center knurl. Yeah, all it takes is one slip and it goes down, and yeah, that was enough to for me to realize the benefit of center knurl. So
the only slip I've had is, like I said, from me years ago, like actually sliding it. When I was a high bar squatter, before I realized I should really switch, this is a long time ago, to low bar, I would go down into my squat and kind of, not intentionally, but probably, subconsciously roll it, because then it felt more comfortable. And then I'd pull it back up almost like to a low bar, and I'd set it back on the top of my traps, and I would murder my back doing that. Not actually hurt my back, but like, the knurl or whatever would just rolling around there. I don't know what the hell I was talking about, where this question started, but yeah. So I guess I've never actually dropped it or slipped it doing whatever the hell I was doing with that terrible squat form.
Yeah, got it. All right, let's move on. Hole preference on rack. With this, the 1-inch hole was the number one choice.
Calm down.
Yeah, are you asking people their hole preference right now? You're trying to cancel? I will cancel both of our channels.
Power rack.
In one question.
So 45% voted 1-inch, 30% 5/8 inch, only 3% say other, and then 22% do not know why that's important. If you look down at the chart at the bottom, that is a look at the last 3 times we've done the survey and the votes for I don't know why that's important. So you can see back in January 21, 38% were like, I don't know why that's important. And you can really see how educated the people have gotten relatively quickly, and that number's down to closer to 20%. That's interesting. And it's also just before, not to cut you off, but the 1-inch and 5/8 inch received like 30 times more votes than other.
So I guess this question's more of, I'm going to interview you on this one. I don't remember what the percent was, but it was a pretty low percent talking about that third hole. Jake, could you explain to us what that third hole would be in this circumstance? Or?
What?
Yeah, it's 1-inch 5/8, right? There's a third hole. Isn't that what it says?
The other.
What's that other, Jake? What's that? Can you explain to us what that would be?
Oh, that'd be like 3/4 inch holes.
Oh yeah, that's what we were all thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just an odd question, I suppose.
Some people, yeah. All right. Any other feedback?
Yeah, I should probably behave.
No, it's all good.
No, I don't know. What's the obsession with the 1-inch? You'd think people would like it smaller, personally. I don't know. Like, it's just so overbuilt and expensive, which is probably, you have what rack do you have behind you there, Jake? That's a 1-inch, right?
Yeah, I have a 1-inch.
Yeah.
That's a
I
1-inch.
do too. But, as whatever we are, wannabe influencers, we kind of go over the top. And is it a very American thing to it's besides the fact that companies support it better because it's like the cream of the crop kind of top of the end rack? I don't know that I understand it outside of that. I get if you're going to buy a rack, you're going to get what they're going to support. But, you look at like a Rogue Monster, those are some expensive accessories for a 1-inch rack. Like, they are insane. Those spotter arms are off the top of my head, I don't know. They're close to $500 or something, aren't they? I think if I'm looking at it that way, I'd probably stick to 5/8 because it's a little cheaper, and we're not talking about things that are financially always logical.
No, you're right. It's like, not only are the racks more expensive for the 1-inch, but then all of the accessories are as well.
Yeah, they're insane.
But for some reason, quite a bit more, say 1 inch over 5/8 inch.
Yeah, the only reason I got this rack is because we already had covered 5/8 inch racks with my buddy's review. So I wanted to go 1 inch, you know.
Do you notice much of a difference when using?
No, not. I mean, they're big and clunky to move around, so you know, and the price, but not really. I mean, his rack that he's got a PR 4000, and he is much larger and stronger than me. That thing is rock solid. This thing is rock solid. I don't notice much of a difference. I don't think the average person, when I could be wrong, I'm not insulting anybody's choices. I mean, this is a PR 5000. Like, I bought an over-the-top rack.
Well, it's kind of like the guys living in the city and they buy a really nice truck. Like, they don't need a really nice truck, but they could do completely fine with just a car.
Yeah, it's your money. I'm not critiquing it. I just I'm living that same world. This whole gym is a little insane, but you know, it's a little weird that we gravitate towards that, whatever it is.
Yeah, I know, I get it. Adam, anything to add to that?
Yeah, how's your PR 1100, dude?
Yeah, 1 inch hole, but you know, a little dainty.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking about like those very specific and, you know, kind of expensive companies that come out with some really cool stuff. Like I'm thinking like Oak Club and things like that. It seems like a lot of these real unique companies, they really put a lot of product development into a 3x3 with a 1 inch. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like if you have 3x3 1 inch hole, your options are vast and like different avenues you can explore to add to your rack. I don't see a lot of like new 5/8 stuff coming out, but if you know what you want out of your rack, and a company has a 5/8 inch hole and has everything like dip bars and stuff that you need at a good price, then you know you don't have to go with a 1 inch. But if you want that avenue to build and explore and endless possibilities, you know, it seems like most companies are pushing the 3x3 with a 1 inch hole.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's what companies push, and we're kind of, as consumers, forced in that direction.
Yeah, I would say if anybody else anyone listening has a better answer than what we have, because we all aren't like completely sure, other than it's the coolest, and that's what everyone else is doing.
It is the coolest.
You guys let us know. All right, let's move on to how important is an 11 gauge steel rack. So about 2 and 3 say that it's at least somewhat important, with more voting somewhat important than very important. And then only 20% say not important. And then 11.5% do not know what that means. Similar to the last question we asked, you can see a big drop in the people saying, I don't know why that's important. So back in November of 2020, it was about 25% saying they don't know why it's important. And then just one other note is this one doesn't seem like, with the like, I don't know what that means and not important, it's a little bit more than the last question where we had only a couple percent vote other, and then I don't know what that means. So to me, most people are more interested in like the attachments fitting and the ability to transfer from one kind of brand to another with the same sort of rack as the centerpiece, as opposed to 11 gauge steel. From my understanding as well, that all of us are under the understanding that 11 gauge steel is overbuilt for the common person, and you can definitely get by with something like 13 or 14 gauge. At least, Gluck, I'm assuming you agree with that as well based off what you just said.
Yeah.
It is still something that is somewhat important to most people. So
if my memory serves me correctly, the PR 1100 is 14, right? And the T2 is 12? Is that right? Or I could be wrong.
I think so.
I think
we reviewed
that's
both
right.
And we compared them.
So my buddy, he wanted to be a world's strongest man. He's a big dude. He had a T2 rack, and I watched him squat well over 500 pounds and beat the living crap out of that thing. And that was 12 gauge steel, if memory serves me correctly. And if he can use that rack, and he used it, this was back in the dark days of Titan, when things weren't quite as great as they are now. And he just he didn't take care of it. He beat the crap out of it. He was a big dude, and he didn't care, and he paid very little back then for it, and it held up for him. So if it can work for him, I think you're right in what you said. Like 11 gauge is over the top, and it's great. It's going to be more sturdy, especially if you get like a Rogue Monster with the gussets in the corner and stuff like that. But is it necessary? I don't know. You're talking to the wrong guy. Half the stuff in here is not necessary. And if Adam can lift on a 14 gauge rack and he's perfectly fine with it, who's to say? I don't. There's probably a million people out there that can lift in 14 gauge and not need anything better, right?
I would love to see, like, for example, Rep Fitness has all of those different styles of racks, all at different price points. What are most people buying? I would really love to see that.
Their sales number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to, we asked about this question last year as well, but where is your home gym? And then also, what about in a dream world? So just to start off, about 2 and 3 have their home gym in their garage, about 20% in the basement, and then 8% in another room, and 8% have it elsewhere, something like a shed or detached house, I guess you could say.
Outside.
So somewhere else. Yeah. So overall, the garage is the most popular spot. When you are talking dream world, though, while 64% said the garage was where their gym is at now, only 44 say that it would be that in their dream world. And you see some bumps in basement, other room in the house, and then other as well for dream world.
So we could probably stop this one right here. So 56% of people are wrong, right? Because only 44% said it's the garage. So the other 56% are wrong, and we'll just move on.
All right.
Dream world.
Yeah, this is
I'm
my
thinking
podcast
like
now. Oh, well, yeah, do
a
say
Juji
dream
Mufu
world
situation.
Okay. A really big garage.
Build a pole barn and just, yep.
I ruined what you're doing. You can go on.
Oh, you're fine.
In my ideal world, it would be a barn, like an actual barn. Like I know I took over on this one. I didn't mean to. But like if you see the woodwork, I taught woodworking for like 10 years. So I'm a sucker for this stuff. So if I could do like an actual barn with like heavy timber construction or something, that's my dream world.
Yeah, no argument here.
Yep. I think ideally, though, something like what Basement Brandon has going on, where he poured himself a deeper foundation so that he can get, I think he said 11-foot ceilings in his basement. I mean, that's pretty ideal.
Yeah, okay. So Adam's off the podcast. Nobody's going in their basement in a dream world. Let's move on.
I'm sitting in the basement right now.
Listen,
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
okay.
It's so lovely.
Listen, I have airflow through here. I have natural light. There's no weird things in the basement.
A weird little window slit up there.
Yeah, that's
natural light
exactly.
coming through.
Some other stuff off camera. He can't show us. It's a weird place down those basements. I understand.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
All right.
Please keep going with that one.
The gym.
The gym. Yeah. It's pleasure area.
All right. Specialty J Cup. So what specialty J Cup are you more interested in? A roller J Cup or a monolift attachment, or you're not interested in either? So roller J Cups received about 71% more votes than the monolift attachment. So it's well over 40%, whereas the monolift attachment received about 25. And it did grow its lead from November as well, which is when we asked it last. So we did ask about 5-6 months ago, which one you were more interested in. About 31% this time around voted neither. So most people would, I'm guessing this is also kind of like dream world scenario. They would love to have something like a roller J Cup or a monolift. 31% this time, and then 36% last time. Basically, it looks like that 5% went all the way to roller J Cups. I'm personally a much bigger fan of roller J Cups than monolifts. Curious to hear what you guys think.
Monolifts are cool. I feel like they're having like a moment right now with mutant metals, and I actually got sent one by a small developer today, and they were thinking about ideas for it, and I thought it was super cool. So like, I don't know, is it like a 3x3 1-inch kind of thing where it's a little over the top? I feel like I'm the wrong person to answer this because I have Winnie and people I work out with. So I don't really have a need for them because I'm going to have somebody there to help me lift off and stuff like that. So I don't know. Roller J cups are nice because once you get over 300 pounds or something, it's a little inconvenient to roll the bar left or right, but I could live without them. I lived without them for years. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, unless if you've seen some of the Irwin fitness, that's more of like a finish. Some of the stuff he does with those finishes. I don't know if you guys saw the one where he had that copper, like, I don't know, you'd have to look at my Instagram, or I don't know if you posted it, Jake, as well. I think you might have, but like some of those things I'm super excited about, but I'm more excited for the finish. Like the stuff that guy does is phenomenal. I don't know that I get too excited about like different J cups. So maybe I'm the wrong guy for that one. Maybe Adam's got some input.
Not really. I have pretty basic J cups, but I do have a
useless
a
like
very
always.
cheap pair. A very cheap pair of roller J cups, and like if I'm not using them, like I wish I had set it up with the rollers. It's just convenient.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's one of those things like you have to try first, but if you have never used roller J cups, it's not likely that you're just going to go out and purchase them unless you read some sort of raving review, because outside of the Titan ones, they're not cheap at all.
I think 1211 is the next jump from there. What are they?
How much are those?
They're
250.
Oh, they're above my head. They're like I don't know if I can reach them. I'm gonna regret this. Yeah, I think these are like 250. I mean, for a 3x3 1-inch rack, that's a pretty good deal. And he has UHMW on the front of them now. That's cool. But I mean, Ghost Strong is insane. What's Titan? I don't know the top off my head. Right?
Titan, I think they're under one.
But are they for
like
a 3x3
right around 120?
1-inch?
Yeah, I think it's like 130.
Are they that?
Yeah.
I thought they stepped up when you got to 1-inch hardware, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I reviewed them.
Let's look at them.
But I think it goes Titan, 1211, Irwin, and then Ghost Strong. And I'm sure there's some companies I'm forgetting in there. I think that's like the price tiers.
Titan Series roller J cups are currently on sale.
Yeah, they're always
for
on sale.
$108.
Really? For
normally priced at $120. Wow. I would say I would highly recommend those at that price. They're not.
Yeah, I had those.
They're not perfect.
My old rack.
Yeah,
they're not perfect, but
they're not perfect.
Price.
But yeah, compared to like 3 times the price for a really, really solid one.
Yeah, I think Irwin and Ghost are close to 4. Maybe Ghost is in the 4s.
Yeah, I have the Irwin ones. I think those are probably like 350.
A little
off the
bit
top
less.
Of my head.
Yeah, and then I think
a little less.
Yeah.
Well, like with most things, like if you can spend $100 and you can get like a taste or like a feel, like if you really like roller J cups and you want to upgrade and get a nicer pair, you can. And it's not going to feel like you wasted money.
Yeah. And most importantly, don't ever buy from Titan if it's not on sale. That's what we learned from that, because it's always on sale.
I would agree with that. Wait for their sales.
Or scratch and dent. It's going to arrive like that anyway. I'm sorry if there's a big Titan fan out there that wants to fight me. My name's Adam, and I work for the Garage Gym Experiment Podcast.
I think my biggest issue with monoliths are they're just so heavy. Even I have the newest ones from Rogue, and those are the lightest ones I've used.
Yep.
And those are also the nicest ones I've used. I would honestly highly recommend them if you have the funds. But yeah, even those are still like, if you want to move them down just one, you have to like hold it, take them out, put it down. Like it takes some work. And like if you have like your wife lifting, she's not going to want to use those, and she's not going to want to move them.
It's kind of like lever arms where they look really cool, and I know people love lever arms, but for every pendergraph that finds 1,000 ways to use them, there's 1,000 of us that they just sit there. Like they're not as practical as you think all the time.
Mine are just sitting there.
It doesn't Baseman Brandon or somebody have them like just way up in the air?
Yeah, it's like a pull-up bar with the handles.
Yep.
So yeah, roller J cups, a bit more popular. Do you actually save money by owning a home gym? And this is really timely because you posted that meme today.
Yep.
Yeah, I meant to actually take a picture of that and throw this on the presentation, but forgot to. But this is actually pretty interesting. So 47% say that they do indeed save money by owning a home gym. However, we've asked this question numerous times.
I like the stats.
And you can see how it has gone down each time, like very consistently. So in October of 2020, 62% said they do save money. And then 59% in May, 55% in November. And then this time around, 47%. I would say this is one of the best data trends that we've captured. You know, a lot of people initially 4, 5, 6 years ago, the primary reason that you would hear people starting a home gym was to save money. But yeah, it's really well known that, you know, it's the time and the other things that are more important than the money saved these days. Any thoughts? Or did I capture that?
Any thoughts on this one? You're talking to the right guy. I don't know. This is one of those things where I get a little aggravated because there are some larger influencers that I feel can be a little misleading with this, saying that, you know, you can save a lot of money with a home gym. But I see that 47% of people say they do, but there's a lot of us that just don't. Like, think about it. If I buy a decent barbell, even a budget bar, you know, a bare naked powerlifting bar for $200. If I'm paying $40 a month for the gym and I'm excluding Planet Fitness, that's 5 months for that one thing. And you could argue like, okay, you can buy everything used and I can be really frugal. But you guys know, like, building a gym, especially now for $1,000, $2,000, you're getting a minimalist gym. And then are you saving money or are you just not using it? Like, are you getting enough use out of it? Is it versatile enough that it's really countering a gym? You know what I mean? I mean, this gym is, I'm a bad example. This is probably 30 freaking grand, but the only person I know of that saved money in his gym doesn't use it because he doesn't have enough stuff. So, like, maybe Adam with his, you know, I don't know what your gym looks like, you know, with the PR1100, what's that, I have no idea what that costs, but, you know, like, he might be more practical than someone like Jake and I, but there's no way in hell Jake and I are ever saving money. And I know there's a lot of people like us who are never going to save money. This is just talking on a money stance, not talking about all the other benefits, not trying to, like, bend the truth. There's no way Jake and I are saving money.
Well, we do it for a living. True. I think that's a little different. But I'll give you an example. So there are plenty of people who, like, my wife goes to a CrossFit gym. She's paying like $180 a month. She's done that for the past 5 years. That's $10,000. I mean, again, she's not the type of person that would want to work out by herself at home just to save some dollars. Those are the people that could potentially save money.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you make the Planet Fitness or LA Fitness argument, it's really tough. And then you also have to keep in mind the gas saved and
well, I wasn't trying to bend things, I guess.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it makes sense that some people do save. And I was actually driving through like rush hour the past couple days, and I was thinking this would take me like 30 minutes to get to the gym, and like gas. So like you think a couple gallons a day, that adds up over time as well. And I remember back when I used to go to a commercial gym, it was rush hour. Or I was going like after work, or at least for some time, it was after work, and, you know, quite a bit of gas was spent. So $5 a day, that ends up being a gym membership too. So,
well, I was trying to take those things out, but you're right. I wasn't including I guess I wasn't including the extremes. I wasn't thinking of a CrossFit because they do pay a lot, and I wasn't thinking of like a Planet Fitness. But you're right. There are people on those edges that I didn't really think of. But even before I started making YouTube videos, you know, I was probably pretty deep in the hole. Could I say I'll do this for 40 years and get out of it? And not at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think part of it too is just gym equipment has gone up the last year,
lot, yeah.
The price, and it doesn't seem to be going down. I'm not sure if you listened to the last Inventors Roundtable.
I did.
But yeah, just like straight up asked them if they thought prices would go down anytime soon.
I think they laughed a little bit.
Yeah, none of them even had a minor thought that it might go down. So
yeah, I just think that I think that it's a little overblown by certain people that to get people in the door, you know, like, you can build this $1,000 home gym, you can save money. I think that can happen for some people. I just think that it's sometimes a little overblown, and that it's especially now gotten much more expensive. So it's not the first thing out of my mouth. I wouldn't say to somebody, build a home gym because you can save money. I wouldn't think that would be on my list. I would say spend time with your family. It's more convenient, things like that. I would argue. I don't think that's something I personally would go out and say anymore.
Yeah. I really like the
go ahead.
trajectory of this graph because like a lot of people get into a home gym with maybe that in mind, like I'm going to save money. And then it gets to a point where like, you can't lie to yourself anymore. I bought too much. I'm never going to make up ground on this.
And
like
that's
I'm very
okay.
budget. Yeah. I'm very budget with like a lot of the decisions I make. And still like there's thousands of dollars like sitting in front of me.
It's an investment in yourself. Like it's perfectly fine to like, I don't go out to eat. I don't drink. I would much rather take that money and put it here. Like, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with you. I'm not saying you have to save money. Spend your money however you want. I am perfectly happy that I've dumped all my money into this. I think this is a great investment because it's an investment in me, but I'm not going to tell people that you're going to save money. That's pretty much all I'm saying.
Yeah.
At least not me.
And just keep in mind the people that are answering these survey questions are those that are prioritizing their home gym. So yeah. And I do think, one more thing before we move on. I do think it was a really good point you made, Gluck, where you're like those people that do end up spending $1,000 to start a home gym and they don't add to it. Those are likely the people that end up getting bored and don't end up using it. So
that's what my friend. I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't watch this. But I have a friend that he doesn't use his. And it's kind of sad because his two best friends are like huge lifters. It takes a lot to have a home gym. Like I kind of liked commercial gyms like that. That motivation. And there's different people. Like if you're in a CrossFit gym, you're not going to want to sit at home. And I sold my R6 rack to somebody down the road. It was a woman who did CrossFit, and her husband bought it for her. And she's like, I don't want this. I want to work out with people.
Right.
I completely get it. And I enjoyed the commercial gym for certain aspects of it, just like I enjoy my home gym for certain aspects. There's no perfect for each world. And it was Adam or somebody said, like, at some point, you got to not lie to yourself. I'm fine. This didn't save me money. I'm still very happy with my decision. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. So reasons for training. This is another repeat question. It's something that the results didn't really change a ton. I'll talk about the change that we did see. But what we have seen in the past is that, at least from these 4 reasons for training, the overall standings haven't changed. So how the question goes is, what's your number 1 reason for training? What's your number 2 reason for training? And then what's your number 3 reason for training? And the options are look good, mental health, physical health, and then for a competition. So again, these results haven't changed. What we've found is that people really say that physical health is the number 1 reason, mental health, number 2 reason, look good, a distant 3rd, and then for a competition is like a handful of percentage each time. We did see look good make a bit of a jump from last time. So it went from 22% for the number 2 reason up to 28%, and then 17 to 19 this time around for the number 1 reason. So that was really the only movement. I mean, that might be like going back into society after COVID. I don't know. And you want to look good. But overall, what we've seen is just physical and then mental health are easily the top 2 choices.
That's what you're supposed to say, right? You can't say I'm doing it to look good. You want to see conceited.
You can say it in surveys where no one sees the results, though.
Well, that's true. But then you get Gluck on the podcast. He calls you out. Things get awkward. I think it could be age, too. Like, as a high school teacher, I'm telling you right now, they all lift to look good. None of those kids are thinking of their physical health or their mental health. So I think as you age, things change because your goals change, right? Like when I had a kid, I lift now because, I'm supposed to say, for physical health, because I want to keep up with my son. I have 2 parents who are overweight, and I know as a kid and as an adult, I worry about them. So I don't want to put those stresses on my son. So a big part of why I lift is my physical health. Yeah, the mental health plays a big role in it. I think that it's very therapeutic for me, and I do want to look good. But, a lot of that is just trying to keep up with my kid, and that's maybe an age thing or your goals, like anything else. They change.
Yeah, and ranking these, it just depends on the day for me, because if I've had a rough day, like my workout's purely for mental health.
Don't lie, you conceited bastard.
Listen, if I'm walking around and
You're
I'm like,
looking
hey, too
good.
many
That's all I'm saying.
beers.
You're looking good from here.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, sometimes it's like I just want to get a pump because I want to look good. And then other times, I definitely want to take care of myself. Jake, like what it's like, we're building up for a big run. And sometimes like the reason I'm out there training is for a competition. And so like to rank these reasons, it changes on the day. I look at all of them and I would probably re-rank them for today and tomorrow and the next day. So it changes all the time. But these are the top 4 reasons why I work out.
Yeah, I've thought about changing this question up, but I can't really think of a fifth, like something that you would replace it with.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
Assert dominance in the house.
We're going back to that stuff you were talking about in the basement, huh, Adam? I understand.
Not for this podcast.
This is not the late night garage gym experiment.
All right, let's move on to the last question. So, bench width preference. So we asked, what's your bench width preference, wide, regular, or not sure? And it was a tie. So 12% said they weren't sure. 44% both voted for wide and regular. We also asked it on an Instagram post, and there wasn't a ton of feedback as to like why you went with what, but the primary reason that most chose...
read that out loud, out of context, please.
Wait,
read that last one.
On the Instagram post...
No, go ahead.
The primary reason someone chose one of the other was because of their size.
I don't know if you could say that in 2022. What do you mean by that, Jake?
What do I mean was the small people really liked the regular pad, while the larger likely males preferred
what do you mean by
the
larger,
wide,
Jake?
The bigger people. This is strictly size of the human.
Size. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Either way, I'm not sure you're out of trouble with that one.
What did you vote, Gluck? Regular then?
I did not. Yeah. I think I voted for regular. You know what? Did you do what you? The funny part of the voting is I didn't vote for all these, but when it voted for garage or basement gym, I accidentally clicked basement gym, and I was so pissed off. But this one I picked regular.
Point for the home team.
Yeah, I screwed that one up. But I picked regular on this one. I think I have 2 flat benches, and they're both regular. So
sounds about right.
Yeah, I recently switched over to the wide pad, and I'm trying to give it a fair shot. And
how's it going?
I don't like it as much.
What?
I mean, when I'm benching it, I just feel like, I don't know, it just gets in the way.
How big are you, Adam? How large
big
are you?
am I?
Yeah,
Well,
how large are you?
No, I'm like...
Can you just give me your measurements right now?
6'2", 215, 220-ish. So,
okay.
Yeah, and I prefer
You
regular
look tiny
pad.
on camera. I didn't want to
I'm gonna clip this and put it in as a little article, and then someone who actually Google searches bench width preference is gonna come up to this video, listen to it,
right now,
and be like, "What are they talking about?
Why is Gluck not online anymore? Why does he keep trying to bait them into making sexual references? There's something wrong with that guy."
No,
but they don't know. There's so many things wrong.
All right. I don't even know what to say to that.
As you should not. Just think about it. I'm a school teacher. Not for long.
Hopefully not for long.
Yeah, for the sake of the kids. It's funny, my brother came, this is completely off topic, my brother came to work with me one time to see what it was like to be a teacher or whatever. We were full-grown adults, and this is what I would like in my prep period, my free period. This is what I was like with him, just completely off the wall. And then the kids would come in, and it would be like this, and he'd just... I remember for years later on, he'd tell people, I have no idea. He just clicks the switch and he's a different person. Well, that's what it's like. Not fired yet, boys. Give it time.
Cool. Good luck. Well,
I'm going to need it.
All right. So Adam, you guys both went regular. I went wide. I think it's just, I'm a bit larger, I guess. And that's something I prefer. But if I had to deal with a regular bench width, I wouldn't notice it too much. I would be able to survive. That's it for the surveys.
Cool.
That's it
Cool.
for the surveys.